My name is Parveen Sajid, and this is my story for Colourful Heritage. I came from a small village called Nurpur Basti, which is about 40 minutes from Faisalabad. It used to be called Lailpur at that time. My father came here before us, a year before us, and the story behind my father coming here was that he ran away from home. Because there was no work, obviously, in Pakistan in the villages, and he found a relative of his in Faisalabad, and they said to him, "Oh, we can take you to Britain, lots of work there." So that's what he did. He said okay and gave him money, and he came. We found out after a few months that he'd actually left Pakistan to London, and then somebody in London he knew said, "We're taking some few people are going to Scotland, come with us." And also my Poopy, she lived in Scotland, so that was another reason why he thought, yes, that's the best place to go, because there's people there. And my Mamu, who had already come here, he was in Scotland as well. I was 5 years old when we came, and obviously was quite young. I remember getting on the plane from Faisalabad and then arriving here. It was very cold, it was very dark, and there was snow, and we'd never seen snow before, so we were quite amazed at thinking, what's this? But it was the cold more than anything else that really struck us as we got here. 1960, because my younger sister, she was 1 when she came in December. So she was one in December, so I would say 1960. We came to a place called Oxford Street, where my papa lived, and it was one 2-bedroom house where there was already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So it was very, very cramped, I do remember, and we stayed there for about 6 weeks until my father got another place for us to stay. The house we had in Grafton Square was in Townend. It was a 5-bedroom house, and we actually had a bathroom with a bath in our house, and none of our relatives had one. So my dad used to rent out some of the rooms to the lodgers, and these were people that had come from Pakistan and they were single, so they would share a room. So we had 3 rooms, and the other 2 rooms were rented out. And I remember on a Friday, some of my relatives, they would come over on a Friday and say we're having a bath. So at that time, the water was heated up by the back burner with the coal. Coal used to put into the fire, and then the back burner would burn, and that would heat up the water. And while the fire was going, we would sit, all the children, as if had a bath one by one, and the same water, 3, 4 people in the same water having a bath, because water was very expensive to heat up water. And then we would all be sitting there, and some of the children would be having bread, put it on the fire and toast it. So I remember all those nights, and it was really nice to be sitting with your cousins and once a week, get to know each other. He worked on I think you call it where they make bricks. I don't know what you call it here in English, but it's called the patti. The bricks were getting made, so he used to do some days, sometimes night shift, sometimes day shift, and he would come back with his hands would be really, really black, and very, very raw, because it was very, very hard work. And then after that, he always liked working with his hands, so he joined the shipbuilding yard in Govan. So he was one of the joiners there, and he went on to help build the Queen Elizabeth II. So we were invited to the inauguration of that as well. So and he continued his joinery work throughout his lifetime. So when we moved from Grafton Square to back to near Oxford Street where my puppy lived, again we wanted to come back to where our family was. So we moved to Norfolk Street, which is where the High Court is just now. That was and my father had a butcher shop in Nicholson Street, which is where the St John's School, just a little bit up from that, where the high-rise sort of flats are in there. So he had a butcher shop. So again, it was the hub of the community there, and there was a lot of our families that all moved and stayed in the same place. I think I feel as if I can remember my school days being really fun, and wanting to go to school every day, and wanting to learn, and it was And the teachers, I remember the teachers were really friendly, and they really did go out their way to help you. and even I don't remember any incident in my young primary school years that there was any like badness at school or teachers not helping you. In fact, you used to go home and you do extra work because you wanted to please your teacher. My cousins, they went to the same primary school, and our friends that were living in the same area in the same street and across the landing, all the children went to the same school, and we've grown up with these children, and now they've got children of their own, and they're all married as well. So there was I would say there was about 10 families that all the children went to that same school. What the ladies used to do was that they would do their housework in the morning, make them do the hardy roti and everything else. So, and the children, by the time we wouldn't be coming home till about 4 o'clock, so that what they would do then, when we stayed in Grafton, there was a square, it was called the Square Park, so it was a square with trees in it, so they'd come out there with their knitting and bring food and sit there and wait for the children coming. So we all would come, and we knew their mums had food there, so we would have food, and mums had been there for maybe say 10-15 minutes chatting away to catch up on their gossip or whatever, and the children would all mill around them, and then we would go home, take us home, and then we would go to Southwark. You had Arby, and it was one of the neighbours that was teaching you Arby. His name was Uncle Hadet, we called him. He taught us, and his wife taught us Arby, so all the children would go to his house. We went to the Oxford Street Mosque when we moved back down to Nicholson, Norfolk Street. We then moved to South Portland Street, and within that area we moved to three, four houses in that area, and then we used to go to the Oxford Street Mosque for Urdu. Teacher spoke Urdu and we spoke Punjabi, so we used to find it quite difficult to understand that, and the teachers were very strict. I do remember getting hit quite a few times with a ruler by some of the teachers, so we didn't really enjoy that experience very much. We found it really difficult because we came from a Punjabi background, and some of the children came from Urdu background, and their mum spoke Urdu, so they had a command of the Urdu already, so they used to make fun of us, so we found that quite difficult. No, I consider myself to be a Muslim first of all, and then I consider myself to be Pakistani and then British, because my roots are from Pakistan. I was born there, and our culture still exists with us. It's never left us, and we've now integrated into this country. So I would say if I was writing that, some tick in a box, it'd be Pakistani, British. I wouldn't be saying I was a British Pakistani. I wouldn't say it the other way about. Because our parents were very cultural, they kept their roots and their heritage, whereas now my children have not got the same. They would think themselves British first before saying they were Pakistani, because they've grown up in this Western society. But our parents, when they came, they kept really strong hold of their culture. They kept together, they stayed together in areas, and then they kept, although they didn't visit back home as much, but the culture here, they kept it, going to Urdu school, going to Arabic, and having a small knit of people, and everybody knew everybody, so it integrated you into that wee small society, whereas now we're in a bigger society and we live all miles apart from each other, so the children go to different schools, and even the families are now separated, so that's had an effect. But I myself think it was because of our parents' culture that we still have this identity. People were very, very friendly, very caring. Neighbours were very caring. They would go out their way to help you because they knew you had come from, Pakistan and migrated. And I remember our English neighbours in South Portland Street. They used to come. They used to ask us for food. They would say, "Do you want us to make you food?" And we, no, we can't eat your food. We had to say no to them. But they would go out their way. And my mum had twins. So, and my mum had got TB after she had twins, so she ended up going in and out of hospital after she had the twins. So our neighbour next door would come in and help me and my dad look after the boys, feed them, milk and stuff, because they knew my mum was in and out of hospital. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets, that I didn't have a knowledge of my deen. But again, I can't blame my parents, because they didn't have much knowledge. My dad was educated and he could read and write Urdu. But my mum wasn't, so they didn't have that. They only knew what they had been taught, so we only got the basics, learn the Quran, and then read your namaz, and then Urdu school, That was it. There was none of this. Why are we doing a namaz? You know, what does the Quran say to us? And all of those people that lived in that area around about us, all of our friends and family, we had the same. It's only now, as I grew up and got married, and then it started. Islam started to become aware of Islam, and then put it into practice. It's had a small part to play with the awareness of it, because when that the central mosque got built, ladies were able to go to the mosque and listen to some of even the Friday Jummah bayans, and that was a facility. And in Aista, the smaller darses started happening, and then we started to have the bigger institutions like Al Mizan, and I think there's the one in the West End, Angelas, and you know they all started coming up, and I think because women wanted to learn about their deen, so because of that, we then obviously these institutions opened up. What I would say to them is that don't forget your heritage, don't forget your culture. You can live in a Western society, you can be Western as much as you like, but at the end of the day, your culture, your heritage is your most important part of your life, and your deen is part of that culture and heritage.